a good friend of mine bought himself a new cordless tool, this Festool saw. It's really nice saw, it's really good quality, and it comes with these Bluetooth enabled batteries. And what that allows you to do with the right Bluetooth dust extractor from Festool that has the Bluetooth functionality enabled, when you operate the saw, it will then trigger the dust extractor so you can put the hose on there, and it will trigger it to operate, and then you know, it will suck up all the dust from the chippings from sawing. The problem he had one of the older model dust extractors, and it doesn't have the Bluetooth functionality. Some of the dust extractors have a little panel you can remove, and you can put in a Bluetooth module from Festool that then gives you that capability. He had the older style MIDI dust extractor, and you had no way to make it Bluetooth compatible. So he approached me and he said, is there anything you can do to sort of make his old dust extractor work with Festool Bluetooth tools, the cordless Bluetooth tools? So I kind of doubted that it would be possible. But it turns out that Festool do a Bluetooth module that you can retrofit into their CT line of dust extractors. So I thought maybe it's possible if you take the Bluetooth module, and maybe I could hack it to drive a relay and maybe control his old MIDI style dust extractor. Maybe that could be modified in some way, or maybe I could make a universal unit that you could just plug any dust extractor in, and these Bluetooth batteries could then control any dust extractor. So if you have a fairly good quality dust extractor, you don't need to buy the new one. And that ended up being his problem. He already had a Festool dust extractor, so he didn't want to buy the new Bluetooth enabled version of what he already has, because I believe there's a version of the MIDI that has Bluetooth on it, a newer one. So that's what I did. I got working on seeing if I could interface it. So here's my circuit that I come up with, and what we have here is we've got the little PCB out of the Bluetooth module, the Festool Bluetooth module, and what I've done is there's a couple of test points dotted around here, little pogo stick test points, and I've soldered onto this one here, which is next to one of these little LEDs that make a ring. Here I believe is the 3.3 volts. This is a 3.3 volt relay, so it takes the 5 volts coming in from these pins here, and it spits out 3.3 volts for the circuit here to operate on. We tap into that because this chip over here will need 3.3 volts as well to operate. And then we need a 5 volt supply to power this unit. So we provide a 5 volt supply here as well, which will operate the relay. And then of course we have the common ground, the negative that connects there, the 5 volt negative, which is common to the little 4017 CMOS chip. So what we're effectively doing is we have this test point here is one of the LEDs, and when we use the remote or the Bluetooth battery activates, this will pick it up and these LEDs will flash. And when you do this for the remote, it needs to toggle. So what I've built is I've built this circuit that when it gets a pulse from the LED, it turns it into a toggle on or toggle off. So when you press the remote button, it toggles on and off, and that's all that this circuit here does. It toggles on and off, and then that toggle action, like a flip-flop action, gets passed through here and drives this MOSFET, which then via 5 volts powers the coil of this relay, and then the 240 volts can be switched via this plug socket here, and you can plug any dust extractor in there or anything else you want to remote control. It turned out this was only necessary for the little Bluetooth remote that comes with this unit. If you're using the battery operated tools, the cordless tools with the Bluetooth battery in it, then you don't actually need this circuit here. So I provided this switch that you can switch between the two modes. Unfortunately, that is necessary. If you then wanted to use the remote, you need to open the switch, and then you can use the Bluetooth, just the remote control. Or if you close it, you can use the Bluetooth battery operated tools. So that's the mode switch over there. But it seems to work. It's a small compromise. It's a shame it's not automatic, but it's just, you normally use one or the other, I think. If you had the Bluetooth tools, you would just use them. Yeah, and it took me a little while to work out how to do this. It's kind of lucky that we have these little test pads here we can solder onto. And I left this fairly standard so that it can still be reused for its original purpose. You could just clip these wires off really short or unsolder them. But that's my circuit I came up with. What you could do is you could do a little screenshot of it. What else to say? These resistors, they can be, they're not critical. This is a pull down resistor. It can be something like 5K, 5 kilo ohm. The same with this I would do something similar, 5K. This one could be, say, 5K as well, or even as low as 1 kilo ohm. This little capacitor and 1 mega ohm resistor in the diode, the purpose for this is to make sure that when you power this chip up, it's not in a random state, because this chip is a counter and it's got a reset line you tie back so it can count to 10. So we just make it count, I think it's count to 2, so that each time when it gets a clock signal, it flicks on one position and then resets back to the original position. So it works like an on-off toggle, but it can actually count to 10. But you have to make sure that when you turn on, it's not in a random count like a 9 or 8 or something like that. So that's what this capacitor and resistor does here. When it's powered up, it makes sure that it's in the reset state and always starts off counting from 0. So that's my little circuit. I'm sure there's better workarounds. I tried to break my head open on how to interface with this little board. It's the easiest way I could work it out. I'm sure there's some of you out there that can probably program a microcontroller somehow to interface with this a bit more elegantly. But I think it works quite well. You could do a version without this chip, just with the MOSFETs turning a relay on. This here acts like an inverter, so for some reason I had to invert the signal here, otherwise it would work in the opposite state. So I had to flip it over the signal. What else can I say about this? I actually cheated. This transistor I already had in my I used a relay board that had a 5 volt supply and a relay pre-built into it. It's one of those little Wi-Fi remote socket plug things that you plug in, and it had a 5 volt supply already in it and a relay, a transistor to drive the relay. So I actually didn't have to make this, but this bit here was already built into a board I utilized from something else. But I thought I'd include the circuit how it needs to be made completely, so I cheated. This bit here I already had pre-built in from something else, which you could do as well. It saves you a bit of time. Anyway, that's my circuit. I'll show you the rest of how I made the enclosure and how I put it all together and tested. In my original prototype circuit, this is still very much a prototype circuit, you'd need a 5 volt supply and a 5 volt relay, and some way to drive the output so it drives the relay. But it just so happens that this little board here has a 5-volt supply and a relay driver. And what it is, it's one of these Wi-Fi smart home socket switches that you plug in, and you plug a device in, and you know, you control it with your phone with Alexa or Google Home, it has everything inside that I need, and they're fairly good quality. It has a 16 amp chunky relay inside, and I don't see the point of building a relay board and driver and adding a 5-volt power supply if all of this is already inside one of these. The only thing I had to do is remove the little Wi-Fi module which was sitting there, and I might repurpose that for another project because it still works. It's all pre-programmed. So once you remove that, what you essentially have is a 5-volt power supply. Already has the transistor to turn the relay on, so we just tapped into that, so I don't have to build that part of the circuit. 5-volt power supply for the relay. Then there's the Bluetooth module from Festool. Requires a 5-volt power supply, and it goes into a 3.3 volt regulator, and then outputs 3.3 volt, which is then utilized by this chip here. It interprets the secret source by tapping on one of these test points, then converts that to an output the relay can be turned on and off with its own internal relay driver already on the board. So this little board here for £7 does almost everything that I needed to do. So it saved me a lot of time and money by just cracking one of those things open and just repurposing the board. I could have, in theory, just utilized the case as is and not use a socket plate, faceplate like that. But I thought, in keeping with the original switch faceplate for the Festool tool, it'll look nice if they're both just screwed into an enclosure like that. So in reality, this could be made a lot smaller by just taking these base components and put them into a lot smaller case with this protruding out, and you could probably build it probably about this big, much smaller. I might do one of those in the future, but I thought, since I wanted to keep the Bluetooth module as original as possible, so it could be repurposed in future again for its, or reused for its original intention to mount into the dust extractor that it was made for. But yeah, so it's a very interesting project. It's turning out to be, I'm learning quite a lot, and I might have to create a PCB for this, so this can be produced a bit more easier rather than just on a bit of strip board. This might be worth making quite a few. So I've pretty much finished the enclosure. It's made out of a piece of PVC channel or ducting, just rectangular tube really, and I've cut 2 bits the same size to fit in the end, and I've used a PVC solvent weld, which kind of melts the plastic together, just as you would use on pipe fittings. And all the leftover pieces I've glued together, and it forms one solid piece of PVC. And these are standoffs, so that these press tightly against the bottom of the case, so it doesn't drag the whole thing down as it screws down. Got the cable gland fitted with a bit of white flex, and I'm going to fit this socket faceplate, a nice curvy one so it doesn't stick out too much. It's an unswitched one, because it doesn't need to be switched, because it has a relay doing the switching for it, and it'll just be confusing to have another switch here. And now it's just a matter of terminating the wires inside. The earth only goes straight to the socket, because none of the internals need an earth. And so it's just brought through. Okay, so I've fitted a brand new plug to it. Flex is in. It's got its cable gland or strain relief. So originally the Bluetooth module or the Bluetooth board was set onto these pins through the holes in the board, and this little cross member was put over the top, and the pins were just heat stacked, so the pins were melted down, heat stacked down, and that is what held this little cross member on. I've just clipped the heat stacking off with a pair of cutters, and then the cross member comes off. To reverse it, I've just put a bit of adhesive down first, sat the cross member in the adhesive, and in future you could just put it off again. It's not that hard. My little plug socket attachment is just over there where this cable plugs into, and it picks off on the test points on the board. So this module can be disconnected and still used in the original manner, in the dust extractor it was intended for. So I try to keep it as original as possible. Now all we need to do is take this little flex cable here and plug it in. I've already indicated with some white paint, so make sure that it always plugs in the right way. Unfortunately, some of that white paint went inside the connector, so I had to clean the whole lot. But so far so good. See if everything's clear. There we go. Some nice black screws. Make sure the threads follow the old paths they were before, so don't cross thread and destroy the old threads that the screw made before. There we go. So you take your dust extractor, Hoover, any brand really, it doesn't have to be Festool. You plug it in there, and we'll try the remote control function. So let's see. And let's try the Bluetooth function. Switch it to Bluetooth mode. And of course there's a slight overrun to collect the rest of the dust. So if you guys are interested in building one of these things, please leave a suggestion in the comments if you think it can be improved in any way, or if you didn't understand anything, we can have a discussion. I can go really in depth on how it works and how the components function, and I must have left a few things out because otherwise this video would get crazy long. But yeah, I can send you any information you need. We can do a professionally made PCB for these. You can possibly download the design from, or you can get them from me. I can have them made, and we can put this into a sort of something that lots of people can use. I think it's useful for some people, especially for those of you who have invested in the Festool dust extractor, like the MIDI, the older one that doesn't have the Bluetooth functionality, and you have one of these Bluetooth tools, or you're thinking of getting one, and it gives you that capability without spending a lot of money on a new dust extractor. Or if you have a very nice dust extractor already, a non-Festool one, this allows you to use that. And you can remote control it with the remote that comes with this module. Or you can even remote control pretty much anything plugged into it, really. It becomes a universal remote. So yes, please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. And thanks very much for watching. I had a lot of fun building this one.